Hello, a very good day to you and welcome to the Candid Talk, definitely Kenya's most comprehensive political analysis show here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel, hosted by yours truly, Evans Okinyi. Well, as usual, I'm joined by Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm wonderful.
I can see you busy on your phone.
Not busy. I don't know what to do.
Here we are. You can see Elon Musk is doing us a lot of stuff here right now. We're no longer talking about tweets, but I don't know what it is. But then on X, I saw your statement there, your X post there.
Yes.
The president was at your backyard. That is the Muleme Nation. They are paying, is on some sort of a working tour, let me say so, in the Western region. And I want us to begin from your post on X. That is, let me just read this to whoever it is that perhaps may not have seen this statement. Thank you for visiting our Muleme Nation. But from a loyal subject, consider putting these visits and launches to a stop. They're becoming too much and a drain on our meager resources. Your Excellency, moving the president around is costly. Your Excellency, it may interest you to know that all work stops when you're around. Like the entire Western region shut for all the time you are there. Please consider these as coming from your loyal subject and with tremendous respect and utmost humility. Once again, thank you for your visit to Western. Let's begin. Please kindly put that statement into context and explain to us the problem that you have with the presidential visit, rather tour to the Western region.
I'm just like many other people in this country. I've been wondering what value there is in the many launches the president is engaged in. Some of them are very small things.
Okay.
But at much more serious level, I've been thinking the country has a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, political, economic, and it means the president will need all the time he can get to work in his office at Harambee House or at State House. He may visit once in a while, but the time the president is spending traversing the country, really, to me, I find it not the right thing to do. So I'm just saying, can you halt? I mean, they don't seem to be serving any purpose. Yeah.
What is the problem with them? Is it the finances that go in?
First of all, it drains the country's mega resources. It is very expensive to move the president around the country. The infrastructure you put in place, and I've said this many times, for the president to go to Western for 3-4 days, for the president to be in Mount Kenya for 5 days, is a lot of money. During Moi's time, a whole 2 months before, all the accommodation in Kakamega will be booked before Moi comes. I know we've come a long way, it can't be that bad, but I also mentioned in that tweet, we have 4 counties within the former Western province. You may wish to add it to Nzoia. Remain with the 4, Bungoma, Busia, Vihiga, and Kakamega. All the governors, the entire machinery of the counties were mobilized to be with the president. So you will not get services in Kakamega when the president is in Busia. Vihiga County government, the governor and everybody else will not be in the county. They will be where the president is. For 4 or so days, everything has come to a standstill in a whole region. As a country where there's so much poverty, so much suffering and so much pain, we should not be this extravagant. I'm only asking the president, feel the people of Kenya. The people are suffering. They don't know. You see, it's very bad when people are sleeping hungry to see how much money is being spent on these tours. It's so, I mean, it's so much money to move the president around. Yeah. And then look at the foregone opportunities. The president will be doing a lot of work when he's in Nairobi. Sort of moving to Kisii. From Kisii he goes to Keregoya. From Keregoya he comes to Vihiga. From Vihiga he goes to Kwale. That's so much time is wasted. And I've been telling Kenyans, if you want to move your president in that manner, there's no problem. But clearly distinguish between the president and the prime minister. So you create a hybrid system. Let the president do all the walking he wants, all the movement, like an imperial president, like a monarch. But have a prime minister to work. So you see, we are paying for this.
That is a working
we are
tour.
Stuck. Which working tour?
That is what
you think in my age I wouldn't know what takes place in those tours. What working tour is that?
Prof, these tours are always associated with a lot of goodies therein. Wouldn't you like these for the Western people? Because we saw the president in Central the other time he was in Kisii, and right now he is in Western. Are you reading some sort of another motive apart from him launching development projects there and talking to the people?
Which launching is this? You know, even this launching is becoming laughable. You know, I love my president and I want him to maintain respect and dignity. Some of the things the president engaged in launching are beyond his dignity, below his dignity. And people should be bold enough to tell him, "Your president, Mr. President, we love you so much. When you go to some village to launch something, you don't come out looking well."
Like which ones?
Come on. You know all these small things that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you some sort of reading another
And there
motive?
are no goodies to be given. We want to be where Kibaki left us.
Okay.
Where there's national planning, Parliament takes its rightful place, and then the development is negotiated in Nairobi in Parliament, and through other institutions and organs of state. And then we distribute development equally. Because if you think development must come from the president, then if the president doesn't come, then you don't get. Or if he doesn't love you, then you don't get.
Okay. Yeah. Now that you do not associate these tours with any sort of development, in your view,
yes,
what would you say that is the purpose of these
It's politics. It's politics. But again, you know, people don't love people. Either they are ignorant or they don't love you or they fear you. If you love the president, you tell him, Kenyans don't vote on the basis of development. When Kibaki stood for re-election in 2007, surely nobody would have thought, and my late father was a Kibaki supporter. He told me, turn left, face west, you will not miss to see what Kibaki has done. Turn back east, south, west, north. Wherever you face, there's something Kibaki has done. And yet he lost the election. And he had done so much. Free education, nobody had thought about it. Kenyatta had tried in 1974, but this was full-fledged. CDF. And even the man, the engineer, Karue, whatever his name was, who came up with the idea of CDF, a wonderful idea. He lost the election. The best MP that time, I think, was Amisi. He lost the election. If it was development, what Uhuru did in his 10 years far surpasses what the colonial government did plus what Kenyatta 1 and Moi did and Kibaki. Put what Kibaki, Moi, Jomo Kenyatta and the colonial administration did, what Uhuru did surpassed. And when the time for Uhuru to be jettisoned came, nobody cared what he had done. So anybody telling the president that this development tours can endear you to the people is a waste of time, because Kenyans vote out MPs who have done wonderful things.
Okay.
And they elect rascals who have done nothing. So whichever way you look at it, I don't see these tours adding any value, not to the country that loses in terms of resources, not to the president who doesn't get any political mileage out of it. There is none. Absolutely none. People forget. You launch, that plaque is there, people just laugh. It means nothing to the Kenyan people. So what the president would need to do, and I've repeated many times, is just do the right thing. And 2027 for him. Even much as we, in our analysis, we speculate, we say Mudavadi, Kalonzo, but we know that it will be very difficult for somebody to beat William Ruto in 2027. But as analysts and as Kenyans, we talk about possibilities. But in reality, we know it will be very, very difficult. So what the president will need to do is just concentrate on doing the right things. All these populist moves, you should just forget about them.
And tell me about the political motive that you're reading behind Ruto's visit to Western. What is sole
it's not
intention
Western,
there?
it's the president is going across the country. And I think he wants to consolidate his power. Yeah.
So you're trying to
pacify some of the areas that were not friendly. You know, Western, much as he tried through Mudavadi and Kalonzo, a majority of the people voted for Raila Odinga. So he may be thinking, if I go to Busia now, the Busia people, the way Gachagua was talking, munapiga sabu namna gani, munafata namna gani huyu mzee. So he thinks by that approach, he could increase his following in Western, which is true, but it's not quite necessary. You can get a much more substantive following by doing the right thing when you are in Nairobi than going the ground. to come up with populist things. Yeah, that's my thinking, and I could be wrong. Yeah.
I wonder whether the president is making the right political move by trying to pacify the Western region. But then look at it from this perspective. All those leaders were present there. The National Assembly Speaker, Moses Wetangula, Musalia Mudavadi, and of course, Atwoli Francis was also within that same region. And owing to the fact that compare the votes that Raila got, actually, Atwoli was on his side. Right now, Atwoli is on the other end. Don't you then think that perhaps the president may succeed actually in totally pacifying the region by doing that?
You know, the dynamics at play are not as simple as that. Yes. It's not as simple as that. Yeah.
Right now, look at it. Who is now the political player who is controlling the entire Western region bloc?
You know, Western region is complex. It goes beyond a kingpin. For example, there are Raila's organic followers in Western. So it does not matter what you do.
Okay.
There are also people in what you might call Luya land who are basically Luos. And Kenyan politics is tribal. You may be interested to know that even in Mumias, which is very far from Luo land, there's a whole constituent that is almost 80-70% Luo. You know, if Mumias can have Luos, Busias are people who have affinity to Luos, and even some parts of Higa County. And then Raila himself attracts his own organic followers. So it's not easy to say you can wipe out Raila from Western Province merely by going there. Of course, you could increase your chances. The argument I'm having is the president need not worry so much about going to the ground. All he will need to be is be in Nairobi, occasionally pay a visit to Vihiga, occasionally. But I'm now saying that is now the order of the day. That for the president, his way of running government is to go to the ground. I'm arguing, no. Be in Nairobi so that occasionally you go to the ground. Now, occasionally he comes to Nairobi. No. I want him to occasionally go to the ground, but be in Nairobi. And that way you'll do the right things. And that way you don't even need to be labor, anything. That way he'll be guaranteed of his election, because while in Nairobi you'll focus on the right things. When you go on the ground, what tends to happen is you focus on 2027. Because people are asking you things and you are giving things and granting goodies with your eye on the election to come. You see? Hapo ndani kuna ukorami. But if you are in Nairobi, you are simply doing the right thing. And the right thing will see you win the elections, hands down, in 2027.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, definitely Ruto rose to this platform, okay, wherever he is right now as the president of this country. We've already seen him. He always portrayed himself as a man of the people, and especially the common man, the man down there. Don't you think that perhaps it is this right move of keeping in touch with the common man, also known as hustlers, as he often calls them, and that's why he's always going there on the ground to listen to their pleas, listen to their problems, and solve them? Like right now, he's talking about getting all the cartels of the sugar system in Western region.
You see, the hustlers don't want to see the president. They want to feel him.
Okay.
The hustlers don't want to see the president's face. They want to see a shilling in their pocket. So you don't need to go to Mumias for the hustler to feel the shilling in his pocket. In any case, when the president comes to my village, only me can see him. The hustler there will not reach the president.
Okay.
Because he's in a rally. Can you go there way at the front?
No, not
If you are a hustler. Utapelekwa hata miguu haitafika chini. Ni kweli? And then when he's in State Lodge, Kakamega, does a hustler enter there? Manyora can go there. Can the hustler enter there? So either way, going to Mumias doesn't help the hustler. But being in Nairobi, dealing with the sugar problems that will translate in the hustler getting his fair share from Mumias sugar is what the hustler needs. The hustler does not need to see the president. The hustler needs a shilling in his pocket. And the policies to put the shilling in the hustler's pocket are in Nairobi, not in Mumias. Yes.
Raila has for a long time been able to control a fair share of the Western Kenya voting bloc therein. But right now, things are moving differently. There is Cleopas Malala, who is actually the Secretary General of the ruling party as we talk. There is the Kakamega governor, not really governor, but the senator there in Sentaboni Halwale, who is also an able man and one who is a force to reckon with in matters politics in this country. Then we have Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and of course the Bungoma governor therein. All these forces combined, Prof. Is there any way that Raila can perhaps wrestle the Luhya voting bloc from the president, or as we often say, labda hii imeenda?
Raila. You see, you cannot use Raila and Malala in the same sentence. These are not equals.
So you can tell me that Ruto can wrestle the votes from Raila, that is the Western Bloc, that is, and still manage to fail?
It's not very easy. It's not very easy. Yeah.
Could that be the reason why the president is there?
No, the president doesn't need to go there to get the votes. The president needs to do the right thing when in Nairobi. So when he goes to Nairobi, Western just once in a while, not even to launch anything, to say hi to his people. Hamjambo watu wangu, mirembe. Na watu mlembe bwana president.
So you're saying...
They slaughter chicken for him, wanakula ingo na anarudi Nairobi. Then he comes to work for the people of Western, but from Nairobi. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But going to the ground is a zero-sum game. It doesn't add any value. Instead, is negative because the country uses a lot of resources to move the president around. So we want the president to be in Nairobi and occasionally go to the ground. Not the way it is, that the president is occasionally in Nairobi. Occasionally in Nairobi, but mainly on the ground. No. That's not how this system is designed to work.
And when he comes from the ground, he's outside the country.
Out of the country, sky team. So you can't run the country like that.
Okay.
Ultimately, things will not move. Because there's a role the president plays, because he's also head of government. I'm trying to underscore the fact that the president is not just head of state. The things the president is doing across the country are things within the purview of his functions as head of state. When he moves like that, you see the symbol of national unity. People are happy to see the president as head of state. But remember, he has the twin function of head of government. So who is doing that function of head of government when he's all over the place? I am saying the demands of government are more than the demands of state. He should pay more attention to the demands of government than to the demands of state. The demands of states are things that are ritualistic, pomp, color, and ceremony, moving and people saying, la 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 la, yeah, that is okay. It's imperial because our system is both imperial and government fused into one.
Okay.
So the president, being the symbol of national unity, being the head of state, should move around the country and enjoy his power and say hi to his people. But they should not do that at the expense of government. That responsibility of being head of government must be taken a little more seriously than, in my view, he's doing now.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from Professor Herman Manyora here. We've been looking at what is taking place with regards to the presidential visit to the Western Kenya region. You can weigh in on this conversation here and tell us whether you think that his visit there will yield any fruit in as far as his political, perhaps, ambitions and motives therein are concerned. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.